Alright, so this is my third deck showcase video for the Brilliant Stars to Prismatic Evolutions format. Um, this one's going to be about Pikachu. Um, Pikachu is a card that just came out, Surging Sparks, so hasn't been a really lot of play with it. Um, so I've been testing a lot with Pikachu since Surging Sparks. Kind of like a month into Surging Sparks is around kind of when I started testing it, about 2 weeks or a month. And I really picked up on the deck pretty quickly. I enjoyed it a lot, and so played it a lot to a lot of events, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So I'm gonna showcase a list that I think is pretty good for this format, and kind of give some live commentary on kind of how the deck should function. Right. So before we get into it, I'm just gonna show the list. So call this list Pikachu Noctowl. So Pikachu is a Terra Pokemon, and it also got a lot of cards to support it as well. The Magneton in particular. So play Noctowl with it. Noctowl is pretty good with Terra Pokemon, and then you just play the Magneton because it's basically its partner Pokemon, right? So this list is kind of similar to the list that I showcased in my deck profile video. Except for that list, I was playing it particularly for an event. So I had a lot of text in it for that event. So basically, I kind of cut those texts and I just made the deck a little more streamlined, basically. So pretty straightforward Pokemon line, trainer line, and energy line. Sorry. All right. So if you want a more in-depth look into Pikachu and into this list, and you can watch my deck profile video about it. And yeah, so gonna get right into it. So yeah, Pikachu's like came out at a time where we definitely needed a lot better kind of uh, meta decks to sort of play. But people didn't really want to put the time into testing it, so it didn't really get a lot of traction. But it doesn't mean that the card isn't good, right? So that's kind of a disclaimer for this video. Um, yeah, so I'm going first. Looks like it's Gouge and Fire. And up in Squawk ability, so I'm just gonna use Squawk and Seize, so I can just discard anything here. So this is kind of the decks that Pikachu want to be playing against, right? Decks that play a lot of low HP two prize Pokemon. So I'm just going like full steam ahead, right? Trying to get to the Topaz Bowl as soon as possible, right? So I use Squawk and Seize. I use Carmine, and I did not hit a Nest Ball. I did not hit a Hoot Hoot. It's fine. So yeah, Pikachu hasn't really seen a lot of play um in like regionals and stuff like that. Um yeah, formats have been pretty wild for the last few formats. And so yeah, it's kind of surprising for me to be honest, because honestly the deck is pretty good. But yeah, it was definitely a surprising thing to see people not really pick up on Pikachu. You know, we saw like the $500 alternate art Pikachu, stuff like that. But like Pikachu people Pokemon didn't print Pikachu just to be collected, right? The card is very good, and so yeah, kind of shows that pro players and competitive players aren't really trying to have their voice heard, quite frankly, in the Pokemon community because you know it's pretty much being drowned out by the collectors, right? Pokemon wanted this card to be good, and the card wasn't expensive because you know it's Pikachu. It's because the card was good as well, right? So yeah, I missed here, but I'm not in the stress because I have Pikachu's ability, so I have edge no matter what. But yeah, right. Pokemon wanted Pikachu to kind of level out the format, and people were still caught up on Regidrago and stuff like that, right? So yeah, it was surprising for me for sure to see people not just graft onto Pikachu immediately, but that's what pro players got to do. They got to play the game so that these cards get the attention that they deserve. All right, so I have knocked out here, and so I can get the attack off, start the momentum. Before I do anything, I just gonna till dance, and I was gonna use Night Stretcher for the metal, but I just wanted to see my top deck first, and I got the metal, so I could save the Night Stretcher, and I can get Topaz Bone. All right, that's a key part of playing Pikachu is you want to just maintain your resources as much as you can, right? Because yeah, Pikachu. I kind of get into it in my deck profile video, but Pikachu is a deck that needs to take the momentum, or it's just gonna get like run over basically. Yeah, but Pikachu, it's a deck that needs to it's a deck that I think because it was like able to be tech for against Regidrago, maybe is what drove people away from it. But I think mainly just people were just for not playing it at all, right? Like, you know, competitive communities in shambles right now. I mean, like competitive and pro players, they're really just trying to focus on just the next event, right? And so they don't get a lot of time to um, kind of flesh out formats. Even though there's like five, six, seven, eight of them in a testing group, um, it's pretty surprising. And yeah, there's a lot more competitive players than there are casuals, right? In like the uh, TCG community, right? And so to see people not really playing Pikachu is really surprising, to be honest. Right? Yeah. So he's just trying to buy time because he knows he can tell like Pikachu if I just KO whatever he pushes, right? So he's trying to buy time, and I just Pikachu is not an odds based deck, so you just get the guaranteed line. You don't flip coins. You just get the guaranteed line because that's how you play Pikachu, right? You don't have time to buy turns. You just get whatever line you can here. So I have Magneton. I have an energy in hand, so I can retreat my Pikachu that's confused, and I can bring up a healthy Pikachu. And yeah, it's a guaranteed knockout, right? Yeah, that's the thing with people, right? Like it's people tend to lean towards like the most overpowered deck that they can find, and it's like that can win you events, but you know it's not showing a skill, right? And so it does a lot of damage to the continuity of the game because if not the best player keeps winning, then eventually the game will be very hard to design, basically, right? So here I made a big blunder. I discarded a Pikachu. Um, it was just damaged, so I just wanted to get rid of it. But I have no more night stretches, so I can't get my any more Pikachu's left in my deck. Um, and basically, I could just look at the list and just be like, okay, he has a Monkey Dory. He probably plays Luminous Energy, and so he could damage my Pikachu and KO it here, right? Because my logic was that he couldn't KO my Pikachu, and I realized he could. All right, so I did a big blunder there. Instead of discarding the Pikachu, I should have discarded the Squawk ability, and yeah, took a big risk. My opponent didn't have it, so sigh of relief there. But yeah, and he realizes it doesn't matter if he kills attacks me because I have game. Um, so he keeps the one prizer inactive and maintain my hand well, with the boss and the ultra ball, and so I have it right. All right, so far so good. Got a matchup that I like, and yeah, and it's not like people know that Pikachu can win very easily in these matchups, so they play decks that don't give Pikachu his lines. It's just people will play what they play, and so that makes it harder for Pikachu to thrive, basically, right? But if people tested right, and they didn't play those decks that don't have very good matchup spreads, but can beat Pikachu, for example, right? Then Pikachu won't be able to thrive, right? So my opponent's going first. So I've seen this deck a lot in my climb. Um, I don't even know what it's supposed to do. Just feels like the deck just doesn't hit numbers, and so yeah, I feel like it's pretty odd that people are playing it. When they first originally printed like the two prize evolutions, the basic for it, the EVGX, was a pretty good card, and so made sense that people would play that one. But this one, honestly, nothing really impressive about these basics, and so I don't really understand why people um like playing this deck, right? So I'm just like, I see this hand, got the Era Zero, which I'm happy for. Um, but there's not really much going on other than that. So I'm just like, let me just squawk this hand. So I thin down, and then I grab the squawk, and hopefully I'm set for next turn. I'm set, I got the Noctowl, and yeah. So yeah, Pikachu's a very aggressive deck. That's kind of how it's supposed to be played, right? And it's strong deck. There's definitely no denying that, right? Like, so here I'm just taking more of a preemptive line. Um, I might have to attack like a one prizer. So if my opponent draws bad, I can just KO this EV, trade one for one, and then um if I have to kill another one prizer, I can use like Iron Hands or Orgrimmon or something like that. So he has research. I'm pretty sure he had research. I don't think he talked that the Earthen Vessel. And um, yeah, I mentioned kind of in a few of my deck profile videos. I don't really think Prismatic Evolutions is the ushering in of a new format. I think it's just an extension of certain sparks. And yeah, like people have been playing these evolutions decks, and honestly, I don't think that Pokemon intended for these card decks to be meta. They just printed them as like for like the archive of their card game, and so yeah, it's I just find it funny that people are trying to play these decks on the ladder, right? You might cheat some wins away here and there, but generally you're not gonna be able to you know climb in a very reasonable fashion with these decks. And yeah, I think he attached to the Greninja. I think this screen is kind of blocking it, but yeah, he attached water and fire to Greninja, I think. So I have the line, I can just KO him here. So I go in and I'm looking and I'm like, wait, there's no Crispins. And I'm looking at my hand, I'm looking at my discard, like where are my Crispins? Um and I'm like, yeah, I priced two Crispins, right? Um Horror. It's a horror story. Right? Like you have KO and your opponent's set up so you can take the momentum, but you don't have Crispins, right? Like it's not what you want to see, especially when you're climbing, right? Let alone like at a regional or a league cup or something like that. So yeah, I'm just standing here. I'm just like, gosh, uh, I have to top deck on lightning energy. That's all I need. And yeah, I'm pretty spooked here. Not gonna lie, like um, just climbing in other games like in VGC and in like League of Legends, for example, right? Like a lot of moments where things are just out of your control, right? Whereas in Pokemon, playing Pikachu, and it's a deck that doesn't play odds, right? So to have to play the odds game is scary. I play it and I win. So yeah, definitely another sigh of relief there. And now I have everything, right? I have the energy I need to attack. I have the Magneton on the bench, and I can just take over the game, right? Yeah, you can see this deck doesn't really do much, especially into Pikachu, right? It's just when you've been getting bad data for so long, right? You start to think that you can just play whatever deck you want, right? So can't really blame the guy, but or girl, but you know, um, it's kind of a symptom of untested formats, basically, right? And these formats have been pretty easy to test. It hasn't been like GXs where you have to play around GX attacks or tag teams and stuff like that. It's generally that the Pokemon kind of decide. Yeah, so you can see the Greninja. It's but generally that the Pokemon kind of decide the pace of the game, right? Like we don't have Path to the Peak, we have Iron Thorns, right, and so on, right. So my line here was actually to attach to the Iron Hands um, by grabbing a Scramble Switch or an E Switch, Energy Switch, but he killed my Hoo. So again, right, I have to play another odds game type game. Well, I don't really have to play odds on this turn because I have boss, but if he wants to attack with Greninja again, right, I have to set up an Iron Hands. So um, put me in an odd situation. And again, yeah, I haven't really been seeing a sort of streamlined version of this deck, and so can't assume that I just have it, right? I have to play my game, right? And I'm looking for my Magnemite here, and it's prized. So yeah, this game was definitely Nightmare on Elm Street type stuff. Yeah, I'm just kind of trying to map out my next turn here. Um, because if I take the Scramble Switch out surprises, I can just win off the Magneton, Night Stretcher from Noctowl, and then uh put up the Iron Hands and just KO whatever Pokemon's inactive. But yeah, I got two Crispins. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, even here, I'm just like, he has no outs, he has no draw engine. Um, he has a 6 card hand. I'm like, okay, there's no way he can get an attack off. And yeah, he has it, right? And I'm just like, wow. I was just checking my resources there, making sure I have the next attack because all I need is one E switch because I have Crispin. Um, and so I can, yeah. And here, I thought he was just gonna KO my thing because even if he KOs, I thought he was gonna KO my Pikachu because even if he doesn't KO my Pikachu, I'll be at one price, so I can't use Magnemite. Well, he chases Magnemite, I guess. The deck's not really refined, so you're just like, doesn't matter what line he takes because I have a game anyways. But yeah, not to get too caught up like on the rationale and anything like that. The guy's not playing the deck. The guy or girl's not playing the deck. That's really refined. So it's just like don't get caught up too much on the lines. Just make sure that your deck functions the way it's supposed to function. Make sure the deck isn't jank. Because it really messes up with sort of deck building in general, right? So yeah, got the line. Didn't see that coming, and that's Pikachu, right? So yeah, um, I was gonna stream this, but sort of the bandwidth was wasn't enough, so I couldn't stream and record, and so I was just like, okay, let me just play these games, and then I'll just do the commentary on it. But yeah, that's Pikachu. Um, Functions well, no problem with the deck. Um, it's just um, yeah, a lot of untested formats. So you put Pikachu, and then people don't know what to do with it, right? And so yeah, right. So yeah, definitely gonna be playing a lot more Pikachu moving forward. And yeah, that was Pikachu. If you want a better, more in-depth look to it, you can watch my deck profile video about it. And yeah, thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next video.